Back in 2004, Porto were crowned European champions. They managed this by playing sturdy defensive football while making the most of their counter-attacking opportunities. And that was down to one man in particular, and I think we all know who that was. Of course, that man was Jose Mourinho, and if we think about it, his career has been, well, fairly magical. 25 trophies won, and he's done it by playing a predominantly 4-3-1-2 formation. So I asked myself, would this tactic work in Football Manager? Well, there's only one way to find out. So sit back, enjoy, and let me introduce you to the tactical breakdown of Jose Mourinho's 4-3-1-2. Let's go. Hello everyone, my name is GG513. Welcome to the channel, but most importantly, welcome to this tactical breakdown. If you do enjoy this kind of content, please do drop a like, consider subscribing, it would mean a great deal. Anyways, let's get into it. So how this is going to work is, first of all, I'm going to create the tactic based off Mourinho's 4-3-1-2 formation, then we'll simulate the season, and then we'll look at some key fixtures to see how this tactic performed and see just how well it did compared to Mourinho's original tactic. So for this creation, I am basing it off the players that we currently have at the squad. Of course, Mourinho had the players like Deco, Carvalho back in the day, but now Porto is, well, a slightly different beast. But we can still include the same principles. The principles of Mourinho's 4-3-1-2 formation was fairly simple. Keep the centre of the pitch very compact and utilise the wing-backs as much as possible to create the extra width moving up and down the pitch. Now this wasn't seen much in 2004. The days of Cafu and Roberto Carlos had long passed back in 2002. And wing-backs had kind of been in a bit of a lull state. However, Mourinho brought them back and brought them back with a bang. And the way he did this was he had them playing very attacking. So we're going to have wing-back attack on the left and we're going to have full-back on attack on the right. Just what gives us a bit of balance on either side and allows both wing-backs or full-back to bomb on forward up the pitch to create some extra crossing opportunities higher up. Inside of those wing-backs, we are going to have two ball-playing defenders. The reason for this is Mourinho likes to be very, very sensible with the ball. We don't want our defenders to be launching balls up the pitch, losing possession and giving the opposition a chance to build from the back. No, we want to keep a hold of the ball and build it from the back so we can utilise all of the half spaces all over the pitch. Moving into midfield, and it was pretty much an unofficial diamond, as the central midfielder of the midfield three was Costina. Now Costina was a very defensive orientated player, and that allowed him to be incredibly secure at the back. So we're actually going to employ him as an anchor man, which gives our wing-backs a little bit more freedom, because in theory we'll always have three players at the back. Ahead of him back in the day, you had Manish, who was a very, very technical player, and Pedro Mendes, who could spring a pass from anywhere. So they did have two very good midfielders. Now for our tactic, we also have quite good midfielders within this Porto side. So what we're going to do is we are going to employ a Mezzala on the right-hand side. He is going to be Mezzala on attack. And on the left-hand side, we are going to use a position that is very, very, very much underrated. And that is central midfielder on automatic. And if you read the description below, you can see that this player is an industrious player. He's versatile. He links defence and attack. And with the right mentality, can switch between defence, support and attack depending on the mentality of the side. So this player is going to be crucial. He's almost an unofficial box-to-box midfielder. But as a central midfielder on automatic, it means he can bomb on forwards when we need him to. Ahead of them, we are going to have an attacking midfielder. Now, back in 2004, this player was, of course, Deco. Deco is long gone. However, Porto are blessed with Otavio, who is simply wonderful. Not quite on Deco's level, granted, but he's a very good player nonetheless. So he's going to be playing in this number 10 role. Ahead of the number 10 comes the most two important players in the squad. We need these two guys to be firing in goals on all cylinders. So for that to happen, we're going to have one as a pressing forward on the left-hand side. This is going to be on attack duty. And on the right-hand side, it's going to be an advanced forward on attack. We want him to be leading the line and leading it well. Now, if you compare this formation to Mourinho's actual formation he played in the Champions League final, you will see that it is pretty much identical. However, now we need to look at the team instructions and the personal instructions. Now, since we are basing this on Jose Mourinho's 4-3-1-2 formation, you could arguably say that his formations were very defensive, but I'm not sure if you've played this year's FM yet, Defensive tactics, well, they don't work. So we are going to use Mourinho's principles, but we are actually going to be more on the front foot. We're going to start it on attacking mentality. That just means our tempo is a little bit higher, and we're going to be looking for those forward passes a little more often. In possession, we have quite a few instructions. We're going to have shorter passing. We want to keep a hold of the ball. Mourinho's teams are known for keeping hold of it and stifling the opposition's chances. So we need to keep a hold of possession as much as possible. We're also going to encourage the players to run at the defence and be more expressive, which you could argue in more recent years Mourinho has kind of forgotten that. However, when he had Deco, when he had Hazard, even when he had Ronaldo at Real Madrid, these instructions were definitely evident. We're going to encourage the boys to work the ball into the box, and we're also going to play it through the middle of the pitch with an overlap on the left and an overlap on the right. That means our midfield core of our 4 players here can keep the ball. They're always going to be there for that extra chance of a pass. So therefore, focus from the middle, overlap on either side, just allows us to have as many players forward as possible while still remaining defensively solid. Final thing we're going to change is we are going to change our width ever so slightly and attack just a little bit wider. The logic for this is we don't want all of our players to be on top of each other in the middle of the pitch. So if we play a little bit wider, it just gives them a little bit more room to breathe, whilst also keeping our wing back and full back right out on the touchline, so we have as many opportunities to cross the ball as possible. In transition, it's a standard Mourinho system. He is not well known for counter-pressing, so we are going to regroup into position and be just simply hard to beat. However, when we do get the ball, we are going to counter and try and catch the opposition on their heels so we can utilise the space in and behind. We're not going to worry about which player the goalkeeper distributes to. Hopefully he's going to make the right decision. Out of possession, with regards to lines of engagement, we are going to have a much higher line of engagement and a much higher defensive line. Of course, this is not ideally similar to Mourinho's tactics back in 2004. However, if you've watched any of his Roma team's football this year, they are pushing higher and higher over the pitch. So we're going to utilise more modern Mourinho tactics here. And also, in this year's Football Manager, you can't be sitting deep. You're just asking to lose. We are actually going to press slightly less often, however. We are going to be in and amongst these positions, and hopefully that's going to encourage them to play more direct, which means we can pick the ball up at the back and then counter that with all the possession that we have. We're going to utilise tighter marking, and we're also going to play with the offside trap switched on. The final thing we're going to change is we're going to prevent short goalkeeper distribution and use tighter marking. For the player instructions, we'll start at the back. We'll work our way forwards. The first position we're going to focus on is the fullback on the right hand side. He already has cross more often and get further forward highlighted. However, we're just going to encourage him to stay that little bit wider. We want to have the width, so he needs to have chalk on his boots up and down this line. Therefore, we're always going to have opportunities to play that wide, and he can fire in the cross. On the opposite side of the pitch, on the wing back left, he has dribble more, run wide with ball, cross more often, cross from byline and get further forward. However, we are also going to encourage him to stay wider for exactly the same reasons as for our right back. For our ball playing defenders in the middle, we don't need to add any instructions. They're already sorted and we can move on further forward to the anchor man. Now, this player is pivotal. We need him to be disciplined and we need him to hold his position, which as an anchor man, he is already instructed to do. However, we're also going to encourage him to hold position by getting him to mark a specific position. I want him to mark the attacking midfield central position, just so if they do happen to have a number 10, this anchor man is going to follow them around, stopping any and all of their attacks. Moving forward into the centre midfielder on automatic, we are going to add 2 instructions to this player. We're going to encourage him to stay slightly wider, and we're also going to encourage him to hold his position. That is just going to give us a little bit more stability in the middle of the pitch while the Mezzala is bombing forward, the attacking midfield is ahead of him, and both of our wing-backs are pushing on. Because alongside him with our Mezzala, we're going to add 3 instructions to his already many instructions. We're going to encourage him to cross more often, we're also going to say to dribble more, and we're also going to encourage him to cross the ball to the centre of the box. The reason for that is hopefully we're going to have 3 players in the box every single time we're attacking. And if the cross is in the middle, it's bound to land at one of them, right? At least that's the logic. Ahead of him is our number 10, our attacking midfielder and arguably our most important player within this tactic. For this player, he's going to have a fairly free role. We're going to encourage him to take more risks, to move into channels and to roam from position. This gives him the freedom to fluctuate from the right to the left to the centre to wherever he wants to go. We're always going to tell him to dribble more, cross the ball into the centre of the box and to cross more often. We want him to get the ball into the box. We want him to be the creative force. Ahead of him, we have our pressing forward. We're not going to add any instructions onto him. He already has everything we need. And our advanced forward, the only thing we're going to add is, if you've seen any of my tactic videos before, we're going to tell him to shoot more often. He is our main striker, so we need him to be getting the ball into the back of the net. So now all the players are selected. If we have a little look at the analysis, you will see exactly what this formation does. It's exactly what Jose Mourinho wants. He wants to have the whole field covered and to have strength in every single position. And when you look at this lineup, you can definitely see that that is the case. Anyways, this is the tactic built. Now it's time to simulate the season and see exactly how well we do. Simulation over, and it's clear to see that this tactic, it's worked pretty well. We finished the season on 92 points with Tony Martinez top goal scorer on 36. Average rating of 7.44 for Martinez as well. And our number 10, Otavio, 25 assists. That's exactly what we wanted to see. For comparison, Mourinho'S season in 2004 within the league, they finished on 82 points. So we've bettered Mourinho by 10 points. Does that mean I'm better than Mourinho? And when you look at the squad, it's clear to see who has benefited the most. We've got Martinez with 36 goals. Taremi, the other striker, with 32 goals. We've got Grujic with 15 goals and 8 assists from that Mezzala role. Pepe with 12 goals. Obviously corners are still working well. But then we get to Otavio. 11 goals, 25 assists. Just brilliant. That's exactly what you want from your number 10. And when you sort by assists, you can see the obvious, really, exactly what Mourinho wants. Our number 10 role, Deco, of course, from 2004, leading the charts with 25 assists. Then we have our right back with 17 assists. Not bad for Chancellor Mbemba. I mean, I'm a Newcastle fan myself, and he was terrible for Newcastle. So 17 assists, not half bad at all. Then we have Justicao, I think that's how you say his name, with 6 goals and 11 assists. Now, he played in the centre midfield automatic role, and you can see just how powerful he is within that position. 11 assists from midfield, not half bad. However, Mourinho is also very famous for being unbeatable at home. And if we have a look at our league table, the home record, you will see that this tactic means that we are unbeaten at home. 16 wins, 1 draw, 58 goals scored, and only 8 conceded. That is just outrageous. If anyone has a better home record than that within your save, drop it in the comments below, because that is just the best I've ever seen. It's incredible. And when you look at the stats overall, you can see exactly what Mourinho aims for. The most goals, obviously it's not exactly Mourinho's forte, but this tactic has indeed scored 30 more goals than second place Sporting. We have the most shots for as well, which means that we are dominating moving forwards. But the Mourinho statistic is most clean sheets. We kept 18 clean sheets within 34 games. And when you look at the team detailed stats as well, you can see our name crop up everywhere. We scored the most goals. We scored 3.18 goals per game. Just imagine, every time you play a game, you're going to score 3 goals. Crazy. If that sounds like something you're interested in, download the link below. And while you're down there, press subscribe, because I promise you there's more tactics coming, don't you worry. However, Mourinho did win the Champions League. So, did we win it as well? Let's have a look. No. We didn't. We got knocked out in the group stages. Inter and Dortmund were just too much for us, and we finished with 7 points. Not too bad, but then we also got knocked out in the first knockout round of the Europa League, so maybe I'm not as good as Mourinho. However, what I am good at is making sure that we dominate the league. Both our strikers top the charts with their goals. We've got the most clean sheets, of course, the highest average rate and the highest assists. It's clear to see that this tactic dominates domestically. And when you look at our schedule, based on the results we've had this year, it's definitely evident that that is exactly the case. We're winning games 7-0, 5-0, 3-0. It is just insane. This tactic works, and it works incredibly well. Definitely check it out yourselves. However, before you do so, let me show you some highlights so you can see exactly how this tactic works, and you can see where all the players fit in, and just see how deadly that this tactic can be. The second goal I'm going to show you showcases the build-up play that this tactic is capable of. You can see that we're keeping possession really nicely. Our ball playing centre half has a lovely ball over the top here to our wing back who is on attack duty, and as you can see is completely unmarked because their back line are completely focused on our centre mid who's on automatic, on our striker and our other striker, which means we have space on this side of the pitch. And with the ball over the top, Wendell has all day long to make the best choice possible. And if we just pause it here, you can see that this tactic again is getting 1, 2, 3, 4 players inside the opposition's box. He's going to power in the cross, and there's Grujic as the Mezzala to pop in the header. Happy days. This next goal comes in a 2-0 victory over Benfica, and you can see exactly how we're building up the play here. Grujic is going to pick up the ball, he's going to play it into Otavio. Of course, he is our Deco replacement. And Otavio has a few options. He can either lay it back to our anchorman, or he can play it forward to our Mazzola. Either way, he has options, and that's exactly what this tactic does. He chooses to play it forward to our Mazzola, and now again, he has options too. He could either take a touch inside, pass it across to our other striker, play it down to our other striker, play it out wide, or dribble on himself, as he is the Mazzola, remember. What he chooses to do is dribble inside the box. Now, he is about to fire on the cross, and if you watch carefully, their number 4 is getting dragged towards the ball, which means our Martinez, completely unmarked, he's going to pop it in. The final goal again comes against Benfica, and it is when we lose possession here. We lost possession with that header, which means our team is instructed to retreat back into their positions. And if we pause, you can see every player going back. However, what's really fascinating to see is seeing exactly how our players are moving into space. We just saw 2 quick passes there. Mateus is going to play a lovely crossfield ball to Mbemba, and now he again has unlimited choices as a wing back. He could lay it back to Esquillo here, or he could fire in across to one of our strikers and the Mazzola. He can take his choice. What he chooses to do, fire it into our striker, he powers in the header, and it's yet another goal. So there we have it then. Jose Mourinho's 4-3-1-2 formation clearly works in Football Manager, just as well as it did in real life, excusing the Champions League, but who cares about that? If you have enjoyed the content, please do drop a like, consider subscribing, take it easy, and hopefully I'll see you next time.